live action as what were her origins before she meets Peter Pan.
And see, like, there's no real way to discuss the origins of Tinkerbell without using the aspects of the TV show with all the other Tinker friends and whatever you want to call them.
What Tinkerbell really has become is the Disney equivalent Barbie. It seems like they bring out these new figures, and then they bring out a Tinkerbell movie to go up and go with these figures.
I definitely completely agree with you on that. It does seem that way. But
and I'm glad I don't have a daughter, because the very idea of a lot of the movies that are actually on this list are very much girl orientated, and the toys like Tinkerbell.
That is not entirely true. My list is gender neutral.
Really?
Absolutely. And if you disagree with me, please send the hate mail to Disney. They made the list. I just broadcast it. So, now, here's the interesting one on our list. Dumbo. Now, I not so much question on what type of live action movie it's going to be, but how do you make a live action movie of an elephant that flies?
Well, obviously the elephants are going to be CGI.
Obviously, I really disagree with you. I think they're going to be real live elephants in human costumes.
You are so weird.
I know, but we got to do something to liven this up. Live action movies, not an entertaining, subject. Like, I am happy to see some of these, and by some of these, I mean one of these.
Just any of these.
Some of them are groaners, mostly because, I don't know how they can even compare to the animated version of themselves.
I just don't understand. I can sort of understand, going with Cruella. I understand, Cinderella, because that's been done so many times. Beauty and the Beast, that's cool. But Dumbo, doing it live action, it just, to me, it does not compute that they're going to try to do a live action movie, even if, all the animals in this movie are going to be CGI.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with you on this one. I don't understand the idea of doing Dumbo as a live action movie. I think it's quite asinine to even comprehend how that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine this. I mean, I seriously am wondering if this is going to be Fantastic Four bad.
I agree, but we have 3 more movies on our list, but we are going to go to a quick music break while we decide who gets smacked next. Welcome back to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guys show. So, our third last movie turning into live action movie is Mulan.
Okay, this one actually sounds like it could be interesting.
I agree. This is also a very gender neutral movie. It's got dragons, it's got women pretending to be men, it's got fighting, it's got fireworks, and it's got live action.
And just as long as there's no singing. I could honestly...
Okay. First of all, with all these movies on my list, how many of them do you think Disney's going to ignore the singing on?
I don't know. There wasn't any singing in Maleficent, which I think is the only movie that...
But Maleficent really isn't based off of an actual storyline.
It's off of Sleeping Beauty.
That doesn't count.
I defy your logic.
My logic defies your logic defying.
You're just nuts.
That's
I'm
true.
telling you, man. Okay. So back into Mulan here. Okay, if you don't know the background of the story, a woman goes off and she pretends to be a man to go to war, for China.
In the place of her father.
In place of her father, her father's an old man, and there would be no way he'd be able to survive.
Which I do question one thing about the movie of Mulan. Not so much the live action part, but there really wasn't much fighting.
And I think we're going to probably see a little bit more of it. I mean, it's still going to be like PG or PG-13.
This is Disney.
Because, yeah, exactly, this is Disney. But I am expecting this movie to have a lot more action. And, I might actually, get fooled into going to see this movie. And if so, I'm going to want it to be, like, pretty good. If it's going to be, like, some crappy, little movie, then I'm going to really hate it.
First of all, there's one reason why this movie is going to suck. And that reason is the dragon. No amount of CGI can bring back the energy, the attitude, and the humor of that dragon.
Well,
which I do not remember the name of.
Yeah, but let's just say that without Eddie Murphy, that dragon wouldn't have mattered anything.
I agree. So Eddie Murphy, if you're listening, please be the dragon, whatever his name is.
Well, I have a feeling
we'll call him Sparky.
Well, pretty much, I think they're going to try to make this as authentic as possible. So I suspect everyone's going to have like Chinese accents.
So basically, this movie is going to go completely opposite of where Mulan went. So yeah, no. Okay. So for our next movie on our list, I warn you now, if you are from Winnipeg, please close your eyes. Please lock your doors. Please turn off your phones. And do not listen to this next segment. I will tell you when we're done.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh in live action. Yeah. So Winnie the Pooh, who's basically based off a bear from Winnipeg.
I know, it's based off a bear that a soldier bought in Ontario and then named Winnie after his hometown of Winnipeg.
When he went to war.
When he went to war, it became his Legion's mascot.
Yes.
And then he went off and donated Winnie to a zoo in England.
Yes.
In London. And that's where A.A. Mills and his son met this bear, and they decided to write a bunch of stories based off of Winnie.
What I do not like about any of the Winnie the Pooh stories is the fact that Winnie the Pooh is male. Because the original Winnie was female.
The bear was, but in A.A. Mills stories, Winnie the Pooh was male.
Yes, which I don't agree with. If you're going to make a story about something like this, you make it authentic. You stick to what the bear actually was. You don't change that.
Well, we're talking about stories that he went off and wrote for his son. So it made more sense to have the bear male, because Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin are best friends in these stories.
And see, I don't understand the Pooh part.
Honestly, if the stories and those little vignettes that they used to show on Canadian TV or in indication, Christopher, his son, is actually the one who came up with the name Pooh.
Well, I wonder where that came from. Wonder if he was sitting on the potty.
It was a kid who was probably like 4 or 5 years old, probably thought it was absolutely hilarious.
It's still hilarious. Except for the fact he's making fun of Winnipeg.
Meh.
Which is fine, because so do we. But anyways,
you're a Saskatchewan Roughriders fan, and you're going off and suggesting that, it's not cool to me making fun of Winnipeg?
I do not make fun of Winnipeg.
You are not a fan of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, or the Winnipeg Jets, or I can't think of any other team that we have here that would be worth making fun of.
Wow, you just made fun of our baseball team.
We have a baseball team. That's right.
So, anyways, they're doing a live action Winnie the Pooh, and I don't understand how you forgot that we have a baseball team.
I don't know. I was just going off, waving my finger at you, and I got hypnotized by doing it.
You hypnotized yourself with your own finger.
Yes.
Wow, only in our studio.
No kidding, eh?
So, yes, once again, live action Winnie the Pooh. How does it work?
The only way I think it should work is these characters should actually look like the stuffed animals that they were in the original stories.
So basically you're saying the only way to make this movie work is to skip the live action.
All I'm saying is, well, you can't make, these characters live action. You either have to go CGI or you're going to have to go off and dig up Jim Henson's, corpse, bring him back to life, and have him create some really good-looking Muppets.
Exactly. This movie, I don't understand what they're thinking. This is not possible to do it live action. It's not feasible to even comprehend what is going through their brains when they came up with this idea.
And all I can really think is that, okay, we're going to have a live-action Christopher Robin. We may have a live-action Parents. But I can't see it being anyone else in the movie unless they're going to go completely away from all the stories.
Yeah,
and create something else.
And I really hope not, because honestly, after spending years and years and years with the likes of Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Rabbit, Owl, Roo, Kanga, Eeyore, the mole thingamajig.
Oh, okay. Well, first off, Gopher was a character that was created for the Winnie the Pooh cartoons. He says so himself. He's not in the book.
I realize that, but he made the TV shows better.
It's because he was an American. I mean, they wanted to have an American character. So
you just ruined everything.
It's like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. If you go up, you read the graphic novels. Tom Sawyer is not in the graphic novels, but they brought him in and they put him in the movie so that they would have a recognizable American character for the movie.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch that movie now.
It's actually a lot better than a lot of people think it is.
Most things are. Winnie the Pooh will not be that.
Honestly, to me, I grew up loving Winnie the Pooh even before I realized the connection to our city. So this is actually one of the few ones on this list that, you're not going to have to twist my arm to go see.
No, but you may have to twist your arm to ask what your opinion on it is.
Oh, I'll give you my opinion.
I give it 2 donkey horses.
You give it 2 mules?
Yes.
Alrighty then.
Yes, 2 mules.
2 mules.
So, our very last one on the list is a very unique, classic movie, book, thingamajig. Yes, thingamajig.
Thingamajig.
No, thingamajig.
Thingamajig?
Thingamajig.
What's the difference between a thingamajig and a thingamajig?
I have an accent. So, Pinocchio.
Say? Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
Another one that actually makes sense, except that they went off back during the 1990s, they went off and did this with Jonathan Taylor Thomas, I think it was, from Home Improvement.
Yes. Now, while I agree and think this is a good idea, I also can't help but think this could potentially be a very bad idea. You look at a lot of the aspects of the cartoon, there's going to be a lot of CGI that they have to use as well.
And again, having not known much about the original story, I mean, we know that Pinocchio is a living puppet. In the original story, Jimmy Cricket gets stepped on within, the first page of the story. So, I mean, he isn't even a major character in that. And we know that during, one of the big scenes in the story, a bunch of really rotten kids get turned into donkeys.
Which is kind of,